Boom! It's Miller time. Sean Miller is the new head basketball coach at the University of Texas. Gerry Hamilton, Miller coming over from Xavier. Xavier bounced from the NCAA tournament on Friday night by Illinois, but Miller beat Rodney Terry on Wednesday night. Texas now tabbing and Chris Del Conte tabbing Sean Miller, guy out of played point guard at Pitt, then went in the coaching ranks. Head coach at Arizona as well as Xavier twice. What do you think of this move? And is it a big one? Is it one you like for Chris Del Conte and the Longhorns?
Oh, it's one I like, yes, because I think he has the offensive acumen, the style of play. He's a proven evaluator of talent. I mean, if you go back to his Arizona days when he had the keys of a major program, which he now moves back into at Texas. Obviously, Arizona, more storied program than Texas. Arizona's on those fringe blue bloods of college basketball. And Xavier's kind of that notch below that you can't get the talent level that you can at the Texas. But Sean Miller, one of the better offensive coaches in college basketball, has been for many years, has coached teams, U.S. teams, won gold medals there, has been various coach of the years. I mean, look, he's 22-12 in the NCAA tournament. He's been the 4 Elite Eights, 1 Elite Eight, Xavier the first go round, 3 at Arizona, 8 Sweet 16s in 13 tournament appearances. I mean, that's getting it done in the NCAA tournament. And the elusive Final Four, Texas fans hope comes with Sean Miller now at the helm at Texas, but a number of NBA players. I mean, he recruited at Arizona. Lauri Markkanen of the Jazz, Aaron Gordon, I mean, the Nuggets, names that people know that follow NBA and are basketball fans. But a guy who's shown the ability to adapt to different jobs and different talent levels with his offensive structure, his offensive systems. But a guy that's going to average 70-plus possessions per game, is going to run efficient offense, is going to run a fun offense for the Texas fan base that they can get behind, and is a guy that's also recruited very well internationally at his time at Arizona. And I think that is very important because as fans watch more college basketball and they watch this NCAA tournament and they've watched past tournaments, you're seeing more and more top international players come play college basketball in the States. Is it because of NIL? Is it because of the vehicle to the NBA? I would think it's a little bit of both, with NIL being a big part of that. But you're seeing more top international players coming to college basketball than ever. And he has proven he can go get those guys through connections and through effort. So I think this is a very good, solid hire for Chris Del Conte in the Texas basketball program.
Interestingly, we thought the last time Chris Del Conte had an opportunity to hire a coach, he went with Rodney Terry after Rodney Coach Terry took them to the Elite Eight. One of the people that he beat on his way there was Sean Miller, who at that time we thought was the odds-on favorite to become the next head coach at Texas. It's just going to happen now, 3 years later. So it's really a strange, crazy kind of twist to the story here. Gerry, you say you like the move because of the offensive aptitude of Miller and where college basketball itself is going. Rate this higher. I mean, is just about as good as anybody can get? Or were there, I mean, I know that you wouldn't consider, you talked about this a couple different times. There are unicorns out there like Billy Donovan or Rick Pitino or Jay Wright, guys that have won national championships, et cetera. Bill Self is a name that some people have thrown out there as well. But here we have Sean Miller. He hasn't quite gotten to that mountaintop, but he's been in and around it, you know?
Yeah.
What kind of grade would you give to this hire for Texas fans?
Yeah, I think if you look at any of these lists that rank the top college basketball coaches, he always sits inside the top 25, top 20 of those lists, right? And that's where he's at. That's where his resume is at. I would say this is an 8.5 to a 9 because those unicorns are your 10s and your 10.1s and you're up to your 11s, right? Yeah. There are very few of those. And the Texas basketball program has never hired one of those guys, right, to date. Chris Beard was probably a 9.5 because he had led Tech to a national championship. I think Sean Miller,
a national championship appearance.
Yeah. Appearance at Texas Tech, right? So he was probably in that 9 to 9.5 range. I think Sean Miller's in that 8.5 to 9 range of college basketball coaches. Chris Del Conte hired a very, very talented basketball coach here who I think checks all the boxes that I was looking for for this hire once you take your unicorns out of play is the offensive style, the offensive efficiency. He's going to bring an exciting brand of basketball to the Texas fan base. He will get the fan base energized through his style of play. And once people get to know his resume and what he did at Arizona, because he had a big win over Texas in a Sweet 16 game that vaulted him to the Elite Eight. Our Texas was around the 32 game, which ended up vaulting him to the Sweet 16 and then Elite Eight. He's had some big wins. Some Texas fans are familiar with him, but as the younger Texas fan base gets familiar with him, I think they're really going to like the product that they're going to see on the court. And I think the big thing for me with Sean Miller is if you look around at the SEC, because first is the SEC, then is the NCAA tournament. Todd Golden, Nate Oates, Bruce Pearl, when he's got shooters, has a really kind of helter-skelter offensive style, but very good. Mark Pope is going to score 85 a game at Kentucky, and probably more when he gets his guys in, all of his guys in. John Calipari at Arkansas as he gets more talent in. This Drick Barnes continues to do well. Chris Beard at Ole Miss. You have to really be a high-end offensive coach if you're going to finish in that top 3 or 4 of the SEC consistently. And I think Sean Miller has that offensive acumen. Now it's all going to be about building that roster and getting those players for it to follow through on the court. But I think Sean Miller's a very solid hire for Texas.
I like it because it feels almost like a Sark hire, where he had a great job at Arizona and was kind of building it there and doing pretty well. Then he had the falling out, ended up going up to Xavier, kind of rebuilding his resume, and now he's coming to Texas. I like it a lot, actually. So I think that Chris Del Conte, there are some ADs that just have what it takes when it comes to hiring people. Chris Del Conte is one of those guys. Yeah. I think that may be, while a lot of people say that he has acumen doing a lot of different things as an athletic director, I think his superpower, so to speak, may actually be hiring coaches, because he's attracting high-level guys that are proven winners to the University of Texas. A big pickup here for Texas. Jerry, you mentioned recruiting. I want to ask you about that. And you said he's willing to go international, but he's not necessarily a guy that picks on the state of Texas or has any natural ties to the state. Will that affect him at all in basketball, or is it basketball so natural, even international? It's just few and far between matters there.
Basketball is so much about style of play. And do those kids believe they're going to be developed and have a chance to play in the NBA? And I know it's the same in every sport, but look, the state of Texas is putting out great basketball talent right now, per capita, better than football. And football fans like, what? No, yeah, just go look. Every year there's guys from Texas getting drafted in the NBA, and per capita, the numbers they're putting out are tremendous in the state of Texas at high major programs and guys that end up playing professional basketball. It's really impressive. I think the style of play, I think the resume, I think being at the University of Texas, being in the SEC, I think all those things. And Sean Miller's been around the game a long time, right? He's recruited players from Texas before while at Arizona or whatnot. So he knows the state. He's going to be well respected in the state because of his resume, coaching some of the U.S. teams, being named Coach of the Year through some of that from some of those teams that were very successful and won gold medals around the country, around the world. So I think he's going to be just fine from a recruiting perspective. But I think more than that, I think he's proven over time that he knows how to build rosters with offensive players. And that is the key in college basketball now.
End of the day, this is what can't happen. Okay. Rodney Terry made the tournament this year, but Rodney Terry finished 14th out of 16 teams in the SEC.
Correct.
I mean, yes, the conference can be so good. Yeah. All that, just, spare me that. You shouldn't finish 14th in your conference at the University of Texas.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. And so hopefully Sean Miller can rectify that situation as soon as possible. Also, this gives them an opportunity to get going as it relates to the transfer portal that's now coming open, etc. It should be a big deal for the Longhorns. All right, Sean Miller, the new head basketball coach for the University of Texas Longhorns. Jerry, any final closing thoughts before we let people go?
No, I mean, look, guys, he's 56 years old, 487 career wins, 22-12 in the tournament. Just his resume again, 4 Elite Eights, 8 Sweet 16s. He's a 3-time Pac-12 tournament champion, 5-time regular season champion in the Pac-10, Pac-12. He's been a 3-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year. He was the Atlantic 10 Coach of the Year. He's won all the awards. This is a tremendous hire by Chris Del Conte and the University of Texas. And this positions the Texas basketball program to compete with the upper echelon of the SEC. And now the question is, can Sean Miller go on a run like Rick Barnes had at Texas for about an 8-9 year period of time? And it doesn't happen overnight. You can fix it quicker nowadays through the portal. And it may not happen overnight in year one, but I think Sean Miller has the opportunity to put together a near decade type of run like Rick Barnes had at Texas. It's there for him.
All right, Jerry, thank you so much. We have more at ontexasfootball.com on the message boards. Make sure you check out what Jerry, CJ, the guys are writing. We'll also have more here on the YouTube channel as well as podcast with On Texas Football. All right, again, Sean Miller, tabbed by Chris Del Conte to be the next head basketball coach at the University of Texas. I think it's a big-time hire for the Longhorns. For Jerry and our producer, Matt, I'm Bobby Burton. Hook 'em.